Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hello, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Eric.
And this is 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger, the podcast where we take a long, hard look back at some of our favorite action movies from the era of Arnold.
Schwarzenegger is the icon of the genre, and we're taking a deep dive into some of these 80s and 90s cult action movies and breaking them all the way down. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's do it, man.
All right. They Live. We finished part 1 so far.
We did part 1. Thanks to everyone for joining us again. Thanks to everyone checking us out on the Last of the Action Heroes podcast network. Also, we were recently a guest on Katie from the podcast network's side podcast called Retromade,
yeah.
talking about Stargate.
Oof,
which was a lot of fun.
I had such a good time
if
doing
you want to
that.
hear us do a little riff on Stargate, go check out Retromade. And thanks, Katie, for having us on.
Absolutely. It was a blast. I had a great time.
Yeah, we hope to get back. We'll have to have her on our podcast at some point because she's a big fan of like these 80s muscle men.
Yeah.
Which is kind of great.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's cool to know there are perfect women do exist. Shout out, Katie. We talked a little bit about it before, but I'm curious to hear because I did not grow up with any knowledge of this movie other than the fact that it existed.
Yeah.
But what was your personal history with this film?
So weirdly enough, it was one of the last Carpenter movies I discovered.
Okay. What year would this have been?
This would have been in the early 90s.
Oh shit. Okay.
When I started, mid 90s, I would say actually.
Okay.
When I started actually watching movies and enjoying movies.
That was the heyday of like the home rental as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to start over. I know when it was. And this all comes back to, we may have even discussed it on this podcast, how I kind of came into movies. And it was a year where I worked at Blockbuster. And at the same time I worked at Blockbuster, the AFI's first 100 greatest movies came out.
Oh, yes. This made the cut?
I don't remember if this made the cut. I don't know that. But it kind of got swept in because John Carpenter was on that list.
Either The Thing or Halloween probably was on there.
Exactly. And so I start watching these movies and I really like these movies. Mm-hmm. And then I realize as I'm learning more and more about movies that, oh my God, the same guy made both of these.
Right.
And so I was just like, got really interested. Like, okay, well, what else has he made? And then They Live came up.
Okay.
And I didn't know anything about it until I watched it. And then I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And not only do you realize that They Live is a great movie, but you also like the Obey T-shirt and all that. Like, it's such a part. The Kick-Ass and Chew Bubblegum scene, which will come up. Like, there's so much that you already knew about the movie without even realizing it. Mm-hmm. And so it became one of my favorites as a result. Because by this point, I had seen Big Trouble in Little China, The Thing, Halloween, Escape from New York, all of those. And so then, this was sort of a late entry into it. Okay. Yeah.
I was aware that this movie existed the same way I guess you said you were generally aware of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I knew about like Kick-Ass and Chew Bubblegum even though I'd never seen it. Yeah, so one of those movies
I knew it from Duke Nukem. I knew that line from Duke Nukem. I had no idea that it was from They Live.
So a lot of these things are like just in the ether, and I think I used to see commercials for this movie on other things I was watching. And for whatever reason, it was sort of like Roadhouse or any number of other movies that I just never was drawn to and had discovered them within the last, 5 or 10 years. And they're great movies that I should have been all over.
Sure.
Because I feel like, I don't know if you would probably get all the political subtext of this movie, but it's still just a fun sci-fi invasion story, you know?
Yeah. The first time I watched it, I mean, I was at this point, 16 or 17.
Yeah, sure.
So I got it very broadly, the notion of the oppressor and the oppressed and the authority.
Well, working as a probably a minimum wage Blockbuster guy,
right? Exactly.
You were probably like, yeah dude,
yeah,
like, let's burn this motherfucker
down. But I didn't really understand any of the sort of finer details or any of the the subtext that is just woven throughout the entire script of the flick. So, and it wasn't until multiple viewings over the years or you kind of, as you grow up and you start, your world starts getting broader, you start understanding more about what the movie's going and doing.
Well, I'm glad we had this opportunity just to, at this point, as grown adults who've been working now for, decades, to revisit this movie, because I don't know that I would just dig it up and find it on my own to check out, as a 40-year-old man, but I think it's valuable viewing experience.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's easy to sometimes it's easier to make a political statement in a fictitious film than it is to try to convince someone of the real world, if you're yelling at the sky about Reagan.
Right.
Absolutely. It's harder to get through to people than to showing them they live, and then it's people are like, huh, that resonates with me for some reason, that sort of thing. But
yeah, absolutely. It's when you take the politics out of a political concept, people are much more willing to listen to you, right?
Right. When you make it no, it's not this party or that party. It's aliens.
It's aliens. Right.
Right. Yeah. Right. No, it totally works. So,
although, yeah. So, yeah.
You want to try to tell us what's been going on so far in the movie here up until this point?
Sure. I'll try to give you a quick plot synopsis. The movie opens and Nada is walking across train tracks. He's clearly a working drifter, finds his way ultimately to a construction site where he meets a man named Frank, played by the ineffable Keith David. They form a bit of a bond, and they wind up at a homeless encampment where Nada gets settled. And then that evening, he sees some wacky craziness going on at a church across the street after a strange, very academic person gets on the TV and claims that there are something is controlling us. They found a signal 8 months ago, and they were all living in an altered state of consciousness right now, almost like a waking sleep or something along those lines. And so the next morning has come. Nada has confronted the head of the homeless encampment, and he's like, oh, it's no big deal. Go on and have a good day. But Nada's not having any of it. And that's where we left it.
So, okay. Yeah. Perfect, dude. So once again, everyone's gathered around watching the TV, and the pirate broadcast is interrupting the TV signal again. I suspect that we've cut from last scene was early in the morning, and now maybe it's after the workday is over.
That's what I'm thinking.
Though it could have. I know this is a low budget movie. I think they would have done themselves a favor to show more just shots of them working on the construction site, and then we come to this scene.
Just one or two bit of interstitial, almost B-roll,
just to let us know. Yeah, time's passed. Whatever.
It's super second unit.
But I think they were shooting fast and they were shooting cheap.
Yep.
On this, so they didn't get all those little bells and whistles. But so yeah, we got that same sort of academic man on the TV. He's saying they're dismantling the sleeping middle class. More and more people are becoming poor. We are their cattle. We're being bred for slavery, which feels kind of accurate in 2024. It does feel like there's the wealth gap is growing.
Yeah.
There's more poor people and more rich people, and fewer living comfortably middle class people.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I feel like, there's just more people living paycheck to paycheck than ever, right?
Oh, yeah.
So this guy is saying that their pirate signal is not strong enough to break through the brainwashing signal on a large scale, but they need people to go and find the source of the brainwashing signal and shut it down. Now, once again, the viewers are complaining that the pirate signal is giving them a headache. There's this featured homeless woman and homeless man couple.
Yep.
And the homeless woman was just her performance was kind of terrible.
It's giving me a headache.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarrely acted.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Now the pirate feed goes to static, and the cable 54 technical error slate pops up. And that old timer guy who we referenced before, Red from Back to the Future. He, again, is sort of poo-pooing on the pirate signal message, right? We see Gilbert. He seems ticked off, and he goes trotting off towards the church. Gilbert is like, he's really bad at this clandestine like
he
shit.
doesn't understand what sneaking is at all.
No, he's very conspicuous with his sneaking. So Nada, he's watching as all of this is unfolding, and he decides he's going to go check out the church. And Nada's like wearing a third different flannel already. I love that he's got like a uniform. It's the Nada uniform.
I wonder if he moonlights as an improv performer, because flannel's also part of the improver's uniform.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah. Flannel's big in the improv community.
He's giving off big like brawny paper towel guy vibes. Did you read what I read and I don't think this is true, but did you read something about the church being in Atlanta, like the church location being in Atlanta?
No, that did not come up when I was doing my research.
It was on IMDb, I think.
Okay.
I struggle to believe that that's true because the exterior is certainly Los Angeles, because we're seeing it with the LA skyline and
this was
from the location.
This was pre-CG where they would just like digitally change all of that.
And I cannot imagine a scenario in which they're moving the production to Atlanta to shoot like a church interior.
No.
That you could, if nothing else, you could do it on a stage.
No, that seems apocryphal to me.
I don't think that's true, but I just wanted to see if you knew anything about it. So
no, I had not heard anything along those lines.
But yeah, Nada approaches the church. He's hearing like hymn being sung from inside. He enters the church and finds there's nobody in there. He finds this back room. It's full of cardboard boxes, and there's like a sort of a lab set up on a table.
It could be a drug lab or something like that.
Yeah, it's like beakers and shit.
Yeah.
There's a tray of sunglasses there. It looks kind of like an assembly line going on. Now, he sees that the gospel music is coming off of like a reel-to-reel player that's set up in there. And on the wall, there's a big mural painted that says, "They live, we sleep."
Great. I love it.
That's good stuff, man.
Great stuff. And that comes back a little bit later on, too.
Yeah. So now there's obviously something secret and illicit going on here, right? I feel like it does seem dangerous to be doing all this in broad daylight.
No one seems to really understand the whole concept of clandestine, though.
Yeah. And like you said, like I feel like churches are the type of place where people just wander in off the street.
Yeah.
You know? But I also feel like they're making a statement that the conspirators that we don't know about yet, the villains, the bad guys, would never set foot inside of a church.
That's
so
it
makes it like a safe location, because these people, they are greedy. Whatever. They're not. They don't care about the things that that's what I think. That's what I got from it. Is like, I think like a church is a safe place because like these greedy motherfuckers don't know what the inside of a church looks like.
I think that's a really strong observation, because I thought the same thing. Like, I thought it was very intentional to place it in a church, right? Because you could have put it in any sort of abandoned building. It could have been an abandoned warehouse. It could have been anywhere. But for Carpenter to explicitly choose a church says to me that he did it with intention, right? So
I agree. So now Nada overhears raised voices coming from in the nave. In there, Gilbert is arguing with others inside that their signal is never going to be strong enough to break through the brainwash signal. The man from the pirate TV signal, he's in there, along with a small like little studio setup
with a satellite
and a little
dish
satellite dish, right? I feel like if they're doing their pirate broadcast from right there in the church and it can barely break through a TV signal, you know what I mean, a few 100 feet away, then it is definitely far too weak. So now the man from TV, the academic dude, he's saying it's time that we put our shipment out on the streets.
Yeah.
And Gilbert doesn't think that's a good idea, but the guy from TV says it's our only choice. Do you think at this point, are we the audience seeing this movie for the first time? Are we supposed to be on the fence about are these good guys or bad guys?
That was my take, right? So I haven't wrote it in my notes. It's like, it's interesting. It felt like the way he was playing it is that Nada is kind of assuming that these are the bad guys, which is why he's checking it out.
Yeah.
And in the way that Gilbert is so secretive and sort of sneaky about it seems to reinforce that. And then the fact that like he comes in and it's like it clearly looks like a drug lab of some sort.
Yeah. He's talking about like we got to get our shipment on the street.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It seems like they're bad guys. I think also I think Carpenter's like wise enough to be able to play with audience expectations. Because, like, to be honest, in 1988, capitalism was king.
Yeah.
So I do feel like Carpenter might recognize that a movie-going audience would be predisposed to think that this group who are like their message is, slightly sort of commie like that they must be the bad guys because they are against our corporate overlords.
100% agree that he was definitely trying to play against that type.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
So now Nada then absentmindedly sort of trips backwards and knocks loose this little false panel that's in a wall behind him. But others, they don't appear to have heard the ruckus. He's not great at sneaking either. So now Gilbert says, we can continue robbing banks to get money to manufacture these sunglasses, which he calls Hoffman lenses. So
Dr. Hoffman, famously the inventor of LSD.
Okay.
Which is where that came from.
Nice.
Apparently.
That's awesome. Yeah, he says we can keep making these lenses, but we're not ever going to reach enough people that way. So Gilbert says he thinks they need just more recruits to help with the cause. Nada, he looks inside the panel, and there's a secret room filled with just more cardboard boxes. So he replaces the false panel, turns around and comes face to face with the blind street preacher, who's like, this was the first time I realized that he was blind.
Yeah.
Because he's like, let me touch your face, and just sort of starts like groping his face, Nada was like, oh my gosh, the church door is open, but I'm just trying to leave, and he's thoroughly like rubbing his face down. I think is the idea that we don't know this yet, right? But is the idea that he's telling by touch whether he's a human or not?
That's the sense that I got, right?
Okay.
Like, they're not explicit, but
the creature's face, it would feel different than it would look.
Exactly, because he's blind.
It's
he's
just
not
your
subjective.
eyes, right? It's not
exactly.
If you were to touch this dude, you'd feel his creature face,
right?
Okay.
So that was the sense that I got from it. Absolutely.
Okay. Then I also like the bit where he's like, "Let me touch your hands," and he like touches his hands. He's like, "Oh, this is like he's got rough working man's hands."
Working man's hands.
Right. I like that bit a lot.
Yeah.
So now, I think a corrupted human would have like soft hands of someone who's never done a hard day's work before.
Yeah. So
he makes Nada for a working man. He says, let me show you the way of the revolution, basically. Nada's like, I don't want any part of this. He quickly runs out of there, and the preacher yells after him. He's like, the world may have blinded me, but the Lord has let me see. You'll be back. And I'm like, oh, this is a world in which the blind might have an advantage
to a certain
in this
extent.
particular scenario, right? Because you're not going to be fooled by your eyes.
Yep, the same thought crossed my mind. Yep, absolutely.
So now Nada pops back out into the daylight. He sees a police helicopter circling the camp, the ever-present, police helicopter.
And have you ever spent any time in LA?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, a few days here and there, but yeah.
I lived there for about 3 years, a million years ago, and it is police helicopters are constantly flying overhead. This is just.
I thought this was alternate universe.
No. This is police copters are everywhere.
Just looking out for shit, or because there's always crimes?
I don't know why. I mean, but yeah, I got used to falling asleep to the sound of police helicopters flying around.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's real. Okay.
That is a real LA thing. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So now, I guess Gilbert and the others, they pop out the front door and put on these matching sunglasses, and they're like watching the skies.
Yeah.
The guys who are usually watching the TV they're chatting it up with Frank. The old timer is saying, I've been hearing about outbreaks of violence happening all over the place being led by doomsday cults.
Of course. It's always doomsday cults.
As we said before, this guy winds up being in league with the bad guys later. I think he probably already is based on like his behavior. It seems like there's just like the shit he's spitting is like, don't listen to these crackpots.
Honestly,
these weird cults.
Doomsday cult line is just like, okay.
Must be other people who are awake, right,
exactly.
elsewhere.
Yeah.
But I also did wonder if there's any truth, because he's talking about, there being a lot of violence in other cities being led by these cults. And I was wondering if that was shit that's really happening.
Well, there's a great line in the X-Files that says, the best place to hide a lie is between two truths.
Okay.
So the more truth you can wrap up into your lie, the better.
Yeah.
And so it would not surprise me that there is a lot of violence going on.
And whether it's just out of desperation of people or other like factions of the other cells, the rebellion, who know what the fuck's going on here.
Which would make sense for him to try to minimalize it by just chalking up to doomsday cults, right? To
vilifying them, like they're crazy crackpots.
Exactly.
There's no truth to anything they would say.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now Frank, though, he seems to notice something. Just this whole situation's odd to him. He's watching the helicopter circle. He's watching Nada, who's over chatting up this young guy and taking his binoculars. Nada was getting real handsy with that kid. Well, I think it was kind of weird. It just he couldn't possibly know this guy very well. But he's like got his hand on his shoulder and like
hey, bud.
leaned in real close. Now the old timer, Red from Back to the Future, he's going on and on about people getting these crazy ideas and then doing crazy things. It happens near the end of every century because people are just afraid of the future. Which, what is this fucking guy, a history buff?
I mean,
like, you don't. I need you to cite your sources and tell me the other previous centuries examples of this. I feel like he's just pulling shit out of his ass. You know what I mean? Like, but especially if he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
He's just like lying to the people. He's like, he's gaslighting them.
Totally
right?
gaslighting them. 100%.
So yeah, he's spreading propaganda, I feel like, for the bad guys. But so Frank is watching Nada, who's watching the church through binoculars. Whereas the church is literally across the street.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you need binoculars.
Yeah, that whole bit was a little bit. I felt like he did the binocular thing just to make it really overt that Nada was looking at the church, right? Because from where Frank is standing, as far away as he is, it would be weird to like, oh, he's just kind of looking in a random direction. But
yeah,
the binoculars gives it a directionality.
I think you're right. Honestly, he had to make it more conspicuous so that Frank could know
exactly
that he's spying on somebody.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So Nada is watching through these binoculars as like box after box is being removed from the church and loaded into this truck, which is like a pretty cool kind of older vintage vehicle.
Those vintage trucks are really cool.
Yeah. So now Frank wanders over. He asks what's going on. Nada tells him what he saw inside the church. Frank then urges him to leave it alone. It's none of our business what goes on in the church. I think Frank knows they got like a pretty decent situation here. They found a community and free food and like fucking shit's like the Golden Corral buffet over here, you know, all you can eat stew. Nada points out though that, you know, hey, Gilbert's a part of it. Your buddy Gilbert. Frank says, you know, we finally found jobs. Let's not jeopardize it by sticking our noses in where it doesn't belong. You know, I'm just going to walk the line. And he's like, you know, I don't bother nobody. Nobody bothers me. You better start doing the same, which is a total flip from their previous philosophies.
Which
right?
I noticed as well.
It's a little strange.
Yeah, it was a bit inconsistent.
Because before Frank was like the guy who's like ready to rise up.
Exactly.
And Nada's like, no, let's just keep our heads down and work.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I have no excuse for it.
Yeah, it's just a little strange. I don't know why they couldn't have had their philosophies be different from before. But
yep, I agree. I thought it was just a little bit out of character. Yep, 100%.
So now the truck being loaded up with the boxes, it speeds off. Nada's saying, you know, hey, walking the line in the middle of a road is the most dangerous place to be. And frustrated Frank is like, blah. He throws his hand. Just a more great face from Keith David. Like he can, he conveys such a emotionality. It's amazing. Amazing to watch this man work.
Oh, he's such a phenomenal actor.
So now I guess it's much later. It's dark outside. Nada's still watching the church through binoculars. I like to imagine he's just motionlessly
the whole time
hours
for like 6-7 hours.
I guess there's not much else other than watching the church to do around here.
I mean, the deserts of Los Angeles? No, probably not.
Well, like he suddenly notices that the police helicopter is back and there's a shooter in the door, like hanging out. I love that there was no helicopter noise like until he saw it. Yeah. And it's all of a sudden it's real loud.
I mean, I guess it's not unreasonable given all the other crazy shit that's been going on. But it's just sort of like, it did feel like that they were squashing the audio to make it even more.
Oh, of course, it's just make it more shocking or surprising, whatever.
Yeah.
So now people begin scattering from the church in all directions. People from the camp start to take notice of all the commotion that's going on. Gilbert and the TV guy are escorting the preacher man out.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the preacher, but I feel like Gilbert and the man from TV are like obviously VIPs.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? To the movement.
Yeah.
And everyone else just left them behind, like drove off in cars without them. It's kind of weird.
I guess they were all in a state of panic. I don't know. I mean, who knows?
But so police, they descend on the camp from all directions, including a full-on like SWAT team. That their van was marked Scientific Investigation Unit.
I thought was really interesting. I noticed that too.
It's interesting.
It was like, oh, okay.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, it means they're not standard SWAT, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, but like what? I don't know a single police force anywhere in the world that has a scientific investigation
division. That's like X-Files shit.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And so it was like, oh, okay. So I don't. There's all these, and we'll get to a little bit, but there's all these sort of weird moments of strange fiction breaking, right? Where it's just like, are they aware of it? Like, how subtle are these creatures trying to be? Like, that they actually emblazon one of their SWAT vans with a scientific investigation division logo.
Like Alien Squad or something like that. Or like,
exactly. So so every once in a while,
not aliens.
definitely human division.
Definitely human police.
So it's like, every once in a while they do something like that, which I know that they did for the sake of building intrigue, but it also it pulls you out of it momentarily,
right?
Too. But anyway.
That's one of the. I think it's like a subtle clue. Like, it's a subtle clue.
Yeah.
So, police from the camp, they're approaching to see what's going on here. Frank, I think, being like a natural good guy, he's like looks very concerned. More and more police are showing up, and cops breach the church.
Yep.
They also breached the camp with a bulldozer and just start leveling the camp. And destroying people's like their meager shit that they've got, whatever.
In interviews, Roddy Piper actually said he actually spent time in some of these homeless camps. Like, he was homeless for
in his life, like researching.
No, but like early in his life.
Yeah.
And he apparently had been through instances where this happened, and he said he had real problems watching that entire sequence go down.
I mean, it's not unlike scenes that we're seeing on the news.
Yeah.
Just like police like strong arming people who are sort of more or less peaceful a lot of times,
Yeah.
But the police are deploying tear gas. They're roughing people up. The old timer, Red from Back to the Future, he looks shocked. If he's a bad guy already, maybe this is sort of not what he was told.
Yeah, that's true.
Like not what he was sold on when he turned traitor or whatever.
That is true.
But it seems like he got rounded up by the police in the chaos here. Now, Nada and Frank, they're watching on in dismay. Nada yells across the fray to Frank to try to get his attention. Not exactly sure what it is that he wanted, but Frank shakes his head and runs off.
Yep.
The residents of the camp, they scatter. Nada leaves too, but now he's seeing that the police have captured the intellectual man from TV, the academic dude, and the preacher, and they're beating the shit out of him, right? Which is tough to see because these are like older guys.
Yeah, I know.
And they're not resisting.
And
really,
the cops
even.
are and the cops are not holding their punches either. Yeah.
I see. Also, though, we see this shit on the news.
Yeah.
So Nada, he sees the guy that he borrowed the binoculars from cowering in a corner, and he sort of tries to guide him out of there. But it was kind of weird the way he was like forcefully guiding him, like had a hand on, like really strong arming him.
Yeah. Maybe he was like paralyzed in fear or something.
And I think it was like probably akin to what you said about like Piper having this real life experience. On the commentary that he did with Carpenter, I think he was saying like in this boy he saw like his younger self.
Oh, interesting.
And he was like trying to rescue his younger self from this scene. You know what I mean?
That's
so it's
pretty
kind of
cool.
like, it's a little deeper than one might think, but so those two, they encounter another wall of police approaching. So they dive through the window into an abandoned building, and like police are just popping out from the woodwork, like everywhere, right? So police, they continue to wreck the camp. They're roughing up like unresisting people. Inside of that condemned building, Nada finds some other people hiding from the police, including the younger man and woman couple who were watching the TV a lot. There's another dude like puffing on a.
It's definitely a blunt.
It was a blunt.
It was.
He looked high as fuck.
He was so high. Yeah.
And he's like gets a very long silent close up. And then he's like, "Is World War III started out there?" That dude was just kind of odd.
He was out of nowhere. He had like 2 lines. Yeah.
And it was just, and then we don't see him again.
Nope, gone.
Yeah, so
he's just gone.
So Nada, he's staring out the window, watching it all go down. I guess the younger TV watching dude has his arms around the shaken up like kid or whatever that Nada had guided in. Everyone's acting like this is like a literal child. And I swear this dude seemed like he was like 25. I don't know. It was just kind of odd to me.
Yeah, it was a little bit. Yeah, I mean, that whole, because he's gone. After this scene, we don't see that character.
Yeah, we don't see him again either. He should have turned up later, like in the final act.
I agree. And yeah, I don't know if it was sort of an abandoned thread that they cut. Maybe there's footage of him. Maybe he had a larger role at some point and it just got hit the cutting room floor. I don't know.
Being that this movie was kind of like low budget, I could see them having written a bunch of scenes that ended up being like, you know what, we don't really need to shoot that. Let's just axe that. I could totally see that.
But I mean, yeah, and the character, such that it was fulfilled its purpose. He had the pair of binoculars.
Yeah.
so that Nada could look conspicuous, so Frank could see him.
He served more of a purpose than the hoodlum in Action Jackson. That fucker had like 45 minutes of screen time.
Yeah, right. And this voiceless character does more in 3 minutes.
He never had one line of dialogue.
Not a single one.
So the next day now,
brother,
the camp has basically been leveled,
Yeah.
right? Stragglers are sifting through the wreckage looking for any like trace of their belongings, I guess. It's kind of wild how there's also like just no sign that anything's even happened here.
Yeah.
Almost like no police presence.
Yeah.
It's just sort of like if you were a person living your life in the city, you'd be like, I feel like there was like 100 tents here yesterday. Now there's nothing but an empty lot.
I mean, but it plays into the fiction of the world.
Yeah.
Though. I mean, you watch it and it makes total sense for what's about to happen.
Absolutely, man. So the community TV, though, has been left behind. I guess that maybe makes sense if the TV is the source of like the brainwashing signal for people. But
it's also a convenient plot device.
yeah, it is left behind. It's turned into a show about like the newest fashion trends. Nada sees the church, seems like it's been torched, which is kind of fucked up. And like a police burning a church.
Yeah, I know.
So Nada goes into the church. Place has been fully ransacked. There's a fresh coat of paint up covering up that mural that we saw earlier, that They Live, We Sleep. It's been painted over now. That's a cool touch.
It was a really nice little touch. Yeah. I love that moment.
So Nada, he pops that false panel out that he found earlier and discovers like there's boxes still in there. He takes a box. At this point, I'm guessing that Nada must be just assuming there must be something valuable in these boxes that they've been hidden in here.
That's the way I took it.
Something that I could maybe sell.
Right, and like
something.
I'm not going to look at it right now. I need to find a safe place, but I'm going to steal one of these boxes.
There must be something valuable that maybe I could get some money for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something. I don't think he has a clue.
No, he has
right?
no idea at this point. And yeah, but he understands an opportunity to make money when he's when he sees one, and so. I think he's taking the box going, all right, I'll figure out what's in here later because I think this is going to get me a house. Right?
Yeah, or something, at least.
Exactly.
Something.
Yeah.
So the police, they're still patrolling the area a little bit as he sneaks out of the church with his box. Nada wanders into this more urban area of the city, it seems like, and wanders down an abandoned alley. When I can see there's no one around, he sort of excitedly pops that box open. He finds that it's just full of cheap plastic sunglasses.
Which he like digs through. Is like maybe there's something better.
Yeah, where are the
underneath
drugs?
it.
Where are the drugs?
Yeah, exactly. Like that's. I mean, that's what I thought. I'm certain that he thought that
they're
coke
cooking
was
up
in
drugs
there.
in here for sure.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's a mixture of like confused and disappointed. It seems like. So now, yeah. He's like, "Where's the fucking coke?" maybe
I need a bump after last night.
But so he pockets one pair of the sunglasses. He hides the rest in a trash can in the alley, or maybe he was like literally just throwing them away. I wasn't sure at that point.
I think so.
He puts shit on top.
Yeah. So the vibe that I got is like, okay, these are important. It's not drugs, which sucks. I wanted them to be drugs.
Yeah.
These are important. I don't know why they're important yet. On the off chance that these can make me money at some point, I'm going to hide them. Like he's a man who's thinking about the future.
Okay.
That's the way I read it at least.
He's thinking a few moves ahead.
He's playing a game of 3-dimensional chess here.
So Nada, he wanders back out into the crowded street. He puts on the sunglasses and he's shocked to see that the world has gone from like color to black and white.
Which that was awesome.
Yeah.
That first reveal, that was so cool.
At that point, he was just, I think, looking down at the pavement, sort of, and he takes the sunglasses off. He looks around, and it's like everything is normal. He puts the sunglasses back on, and he sees that a billboard says "Obey," where earlier there had been like an advertisement for computers, some shit. Amazing.
Just really one of the most iconic scenes.
Yeah.
I love this whole sequence is one of my favorite sequences in movies.
That was the moment where I was like, I got way into it. I was hooked.
Everything
changes.
changes.
Like, oh, hell yes.
Yeah, everything changes. When you see Obey on that billboard in that black Arial font.
I feel like I sort of knew what the movie was and what the message was and everything like that, but still just seeing it was powerful.
Yeah,
dude, it was dope,
it's
man.
Great. Yeah.
So apparently all those were like matte paintings.
Yes.
So that's pretty good work.
All of it was a matte painting. Yeah, all of those. Yeah.
I think they should shoot like a real maybe building and then matte painting both the fake billboard and the Obey billboard.
That
or
was
whatever.
my understanding.
Oh, yeah, that's dope, man.
Yeah.
So he looks at another billboard, a sexy woman like advertising Caribbean vacations, throws the sunglasses on, and it says "marry and reproduce."
Oh, that was so hilarious. I thought that was great.
I do feel like that's so much of like watching TV and watching pop movies and reading books and everything is just like, this is what life is supposed to be.
I mean,
you're a valuable consumer.
Yeah.
Spend your money, funnel us your money, pump out some babies, and then die. And and we'll take your kids' money too when they have money. Like, yes, wild.
Think about how many countries, including this country, how much money that is spent on trying to convince people to procreate, right?
Yeah.
I mean, countries like
we need another generation of consumers.
Right, exactly. Like Japan, I think actually, or was it South Korea? They actually like one time sent all of their coworkers home saying, go home and fuck to make babies. Like, I mean, yes, like the whole marry and reproduce thing. Yeah. That's real.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
And it should be, I feel like, and at this point, there's a lot of people on this planet.
Yeah.
More than we need, probably. Like, everyone would just start, let's say everyone couple up and have one child. Like, we need to start paring it down. Like, everyone can't be having 4 kids. It's crazy. What's also crazy is that it's like the poorer people are the people who are having more kids than they can afford.
And
like,
the richer they get, the less children that they have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, this is like, it's a recipe for a very poor society.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting into the beginning of Idiocracy vibes right now.
But the plot has really thickened at this point. The movie, like, the message has gotten officially deep now, right? Yeah. I was so into it at this point. I was like, oh, hell yes. Like, because there ain't no way that this message is not more timely now than it even was back then.
I will also say, go ahead.
No, that's all I got.
Yeah, I also say, the first time I saw this movie and the obey sign came on, I'm like, I understand that T-shirt now.
Yeah, with the face or whatever on it.
No,
there was the graffiti artist who was inspired by this movie too.
That's the guy, and he did an obey T-shirt, and he also he did so much work. And like when that obey sign came on, it was like all these little pieces started connecting in my brain. All these cultural understandings occurred.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Nada, he takes his sunglasses off because they seem to be giving him a headache wearing them or whatever it is.
Yep.
He's walking down the street sort of in a stupor. He comes to this men's like a fine clothing shop, whatever. He puts the sunglasses on and the sign changes to saying no independent thought. There's another sign that said consume where, otherwise it said close out sale. So Nada, he surveys the whole city from an overpass, I guess. And like all of Los Angeles is just plastered with these signs that say conform, consume, watch TV, buy, submit, sleep, no thought, work 8 hours, sleep 8 hours, play 8 hours.
Yeah.
Like, his mind is blown. My mind was blown.
My mind was blown too the first time I saw it, but then when I watched it this time, I couldn't help myself. The perspective, that shot with all the signs was phenomenal. Yeah. He was not at the top of a hill.
No, I was sort of like, what?
Yeah.
But we got to give them that. They probably just were like, we ran out of money. We couldn't shoot him like on a bridge or whatever we were going to do.
And honestly, that shot was far more important than the continuity editing of his position versus what he saw. Because that tableau of seeing all those signs laid out and everything foreshortened so it's all very flat and everything's on top of each other. I mean, that's like one of the most iconic. I mean, it's just like, it's burned into my memory from the first time I saw that
movie.
Isn't
it an example that if you're telling a story that's important, then you can get away with little continuity errors and stuff like that. Whereas if you're telling a story that fucking sucks, then all that stuff is unforgivable.
Unforgivable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think like what, I can't remember what movie it was that I was watching, but maybe checking out a commentary track. And they realized some point during the editing process that there was like a major continuity error.
Yeah.
And then they were all debating what to do about it, and I think the director or the writer or somebody was like, you know what? If they're not bought in on the story, then we've already lost them.
It was Die Hard.
If they didn't, oh yeah, it was the truck.
Yeah, it was the truck in the van.
It was the ambulance in the back of the truck that was not there when the terrorists showed up. That's there at the end, and they're like, you know what? If they are remembering that there was no ambulance in the back of the truck, we've lost them anyway.
Yep, exactly.
That's absolutely correct.
No, 100%. If everything else is working great, audiences are so much more willing.
So forgiving.
Yeah.
If you're telling a kick-ass story.
Yep.
So that's a good place to leave it here.
Absolutely.
We got Nada. His eyes have been opened. Oof. Yeah.
One of my favorite moments in movies. It is
great.
Remains one of my favorite scenes of Revelation ever. And to his credit, Roddy Piper does a phenomenal job, like going from disbelief to overwhelmed, shocked. I mean, it's just a really great moment for him.
I will say for pro wrestlers in general, I think there's the same with a lot of sometimes like musicians in movies. If you're a natural just performer, then you can perform. You may not be like you may not be Meryl Streep or Denzel Washington or anything like that, but you know, Lady Gaga can act her ass off. I give her credit. And a lot of like The Rock, you know, his movies aren't always great, but
he's a hell of a
presence. He's a charismatic presence, and there's something about him, you know, and he knows how to handle himself, and he knows how to move, and knows how to convey emotion through his physicality, and Roddy Piper is the same.
Absolutely, 100%.
But yeah, man, I'm hooked.
Yeah, it's great.
We're going to wrap it up here for this week, listeners, but please join us next week because this movie's fucking great.
Oh.
Not all the movies we do on the podcast are actually good, but this movie is good. It invites a lot of deep thinking and real deep conversations. We're going to have all those, and we're going to have more drinks.
Oh, we're just getting started.
We're just getting warmed up.
3 episodes ago, we're just getting started.
So, Eric and listeners, until next time, we'll be back.
We'll be back.